Hey everyone, Genome here, coming to you with the next episode in my ongoing chess analysis series. This is the series where I take a look back at some chess games that I played that I thought might be interesting to the viewers, hopefully, and just kind of run through step by step and give you the play-by-play and hopefully let you know what I was thinking when I was playing. I don't know, because I don't pay a lot of attention to these games after the fact, or even so much during sometimes, it seems, with my play, but so I have to go back to the archive and look through some stuff that I think might have an interesting move, or maybe I'll remember an idea I was thinking about at the time, because it doesn't always show in a step-by-step what I was thinking, so that was a little bit confusing. But anyway, I'm going to analyze a game or two of mine. These are both 10-minute games, played with a friend of mine, and I found both these games kind of interesting because one ends in a little more standard fare, and this one ends with the, let's say, the overloaded dual queen setup. So you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. So this first game here, I'm playing white, and let's see how I start. Okay, looks like the English opening I'm starting with. So my favorite opening, playing white, actually. It seems to be the one I do the best with. Okay, book response looks like. So we got... I don't think I can show you the... Okay, I can. I don't think it shows you the best. We'll see. Okay, it does show you. All right, so here, there's no sense taking right away. Even though he would have to develop his queen kind of early, and I could probably chase it around, I didn't feel like fooling with that, so I just try to keep playing in the center. But it did want me to take. Okay, so he kind of advances the pawn, closes the center off a little bit, restricts my movement on the third rank. Okay, just developing. Okay, kind of symmetrical a little bit. Okay, this is kind of a reverse fortress going on here, almost like a porcupine or hedgehog, right? I do have a nice little pawn chain going on here, but I'm probably going to plan on fianchettoing my bishop, even though it's pretty bad with this pawn right here. Okay, he's reinforcing that pawn. So, okay, so this is pretty dangerous, and you'll see why. I honestly can't remember if I was doing this on purpose or not, but basically, this, in essence, somewhat pins my knight, and I don't think I'll leave my knight here either, but let's see. If you notice, this queen is ready to swing down and check, so. Okay, so I do move that knight a little prematurely. And now he takes advantage. Bam! So right now there's a piece given up. Now, I want to say that I did see this, but I honestly don't remember. In any case, this knight advanced down here could yield some good things later on. Let's see what I got going. But basically, that's a free piece right now at the expense of me advancing my knight into deadly territory. But with good play, it's not that bad. But you have to do something out of the check first. So I could have retreated the knight again, but I really wanted to keep him on the offensive going back here. So if you notice here, there is a fork that could happen at any point, even though it's not really a fork right now of anything good, because if I just traded the bishop off, he gets to develop his rook. I know one thing here is good, though, is this kind of slows down his development a lot. Okay, free piece, so he's already winning the game right now, pretty handily, too. Okay, right now you have to remember 50 seconds has passed real time, so at least on my end. So there's the knight check I threw in there. I can't remember if I'm going to play with his bishop, but basically he should be taking with his bishop right here, I think. Yeah. I'm not sure what I was thinking with that move myself. Maybe I wasn't making a plan.
Are you eating your paste?
That was really weird. I'm not sure why he didn't take with the bishop there. But anyway, it's a fast game. It happens. So take something while you can. It wanted me to take... Well, there was a free pawn to be had here, and I would have picked up the rook. So, yeah. Kind of a comedy of errors. The one good thing, though, is his king's move. There's no castling anymore. These pieces are not developed. But my play has been pretty atrocious so far. Let's see if I can salvage this thing. Okay, I'm still down a piece. Okay, so time to keep developing. I'm guessing I ignore this or just take his queen, to be honest with you, because Yeah, the aforementioned development issues. All right, so that knight is not in a good spot right there. It's on the edge of the board for one. And I don't like this board color. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I switched it because I thought I was going to run green screen, and then let's go back to green. All right, that's a little more vibrant. It's kind of stuck. There's a saying, "Knights in the rim are dim," but it's not really a good spot for him without having to go back now. So, I mean, while you got to take the piece, of course, it's a good spot to have his knight. Okay, so he could take en passant here, but I'm just kind of closing the position off and isolating this pawn. I could have taken it early. I'm not sure why I didn't. I'm probably really wanting to develop this bishop so I can castle. The pawn's not going anywhere. It's going to be a backwards pawn for quite a while. He did save or get his knight back into play. It's kind of a wasted move. Not a wasted move, but I mean, he has to get it back in play. But right now, there's not a lot of places for it to go. He's got to remaneuver this thing quite a bit. At least, well, within 3 moves, he could have this in a really good outpost. But I can just pitch it out with a pawn here. But all right, so best move. Interesting. So it looks like he's going to artificially castle here. That would be my guess. Probably my move as well. So there's my regular castle. Yep. So he just artificially castled. So he's got his king a lot more secure than it was. Still has 2 backwards pawns here. He can fortify them, but he'd have to further weaken his pawn structure. But the problem here is, other than my knight on a1, I've mobilized basically everything, even though this bishop is not that great. I need to work on him some. But all my pieces have been mobilized, and he has 3 undeveloped pieces. So this is also kind of a... I don't have dark square bishop, so it's not that bad. But normally this is kind of a little bit loose, and a lot of times they take a prophylactic move and just move over to a8 or wherever the king. But yeah, seeing as I have no dark square bishop, no big deal. Okay, just expand on the kings, or basically on queen side. But I mean, it's pretty even. He's got a lot of defenders over here, but I'm going to try to break it open because there's nothing going on over here. So okay. What do you do here? Okay, so it looks like a decent outpost for his knight there, to be honest. There are some weaknesses to be exploited down here. It's not a fork, though, but there is a harassment of my rook probably incoming, and it does cut off quite a few places on the second rank for my pieces, so it's a really good spot for the knight, actually. It does leave his pawn hanging. I think that's why it was wanting him to... do this first. Now, I just pushed the pawn. I think I'm going into kind of blitzer mode because I'm down a piece. I need to get something opened up. So I don't think I'm too worried about opening up a pawn right now or capturing one. That would be the smart play. All right, so I could move up on the A file, but I'm betting that I actually secure the pawn on B3 with my rook. Yeah. All right, so that little attack with his knight's basically over, and I may harass it with my bishop later on. We'll see if I decide to reposition that. This whole center is kind of locked in. He is further advanced than I am, but I can take this pawn, basically will, if I get it before he actually reinforces it. Okay, no, so I gave him the choice, save your pawn or save your knight. Okay, back to the good square. There we go. All right, so I'm inching my way back, clawing my way back, one pawn at a time, right? So if you look here, there's something really nasty on the horizon if he's not careful. And there's a serious fork here now that could... Well, it won't cost him a piece, but it will get rid of this dark square bishop. At this point, I would probably take it even though it's not developed. They're not doing a ton right now because it's blocked in by this bishop, so it's only a semi-decent bishop, but we'll see. There is a fork to be had there if he's not careful. Okay, developing. Time to reinforce this knight. I could have taken this for free. In fact, should I have gone earlier? No, I should have taken this last turn because then I could have had a free rook. Man, I am playing like garbage. The only reason I saw this was because the end looked interesting because I had two queens. And I saw it was a 10-minute game. So right now, about 2 minutes of game time have actually lapsed. So I moved this forward. I think I'm trying to cut off squares for his knight, so he can't really do anything with it. No counterplay. He can't put it on d5. He can't put this thing like all the way on the rim again. over on h5. He can't move down to g4. Bishop's covering all that. So basically, I think I'm just cutting off a lot of squares for his knight. But I did miss out a chance for a free rook, so I'm really trying hard to lose this game. I'm sure I'm going to be grabbing this pawn for too much longer. Nope, okay. So further going to harass this knight, so I'm going to force his knight to go back, basically. Next move would probably be g5, assuming something really weird happens. Or, if he just develops something else, but... Okay, yeah, so you pre-moved it, get out of the way. Still got a free pawn right here. I'm sure I take it by now. Yep. Now I threaten his rook. Okay, move back to save the hamster. Yep, right back to where I was. So, all right, so I do have a loose pawn right here. Let's see if I defend it. Okay. Harass his knight. Okay, so he gobbles a pawn. Now, I'm not sure if he's trying to hope for a pass pawn, because he will have protected pass pawn here. But it's attacked twice, too, so I can just take. So I'm not sure what that was. Okay, that's kind of a slow move right here. If you notice, that fork, that doesn't do too much before, now wins a rook. So assuming I see it right here, he's about to lose a rook. Yep, there it is. So check and fork and say goodbye to your rook. At this point, I'm only a piece, or like maybe basically a point down, so material. So I'm sure I'll trade this off, and now I should be up the exchange. And yeah, so here we go. So it's basically, well, what's he got here? 5 pawns, rook, bishop, and a knight versus 6 pawns and 7 pawns, excuse me, and 2 rooks and a bishop. So I definitely have the upper hand as far as material goes at this point. I don't really have any too weak pawns either. I don't have any pawn islands. I do need to get the H pawn into play at some point, but it's not a huge factor. Right now, his bishop is still not doing too much. It's locked in completely with his own pawn on one side and a defended pawn on the other. So I say this looks pretty good. I have to get my bishop developed here, and then I'll give a little more room for my rooks to go around, but I do have to watch this pawn right here because it is protected once. Okay, start expanding. Further cuts off like squares for his bishop. This is kind of a backwards pawn now. It is protected, of course, by the rook, but so that's a little bit weak, but we'll see what goes on here. All right, push that pawn. Probably just fall back with, or go forward. Okay, take it, and I'm not sure why I did this. I know I want to get my rook into play and get it up to 7th rank. So I could be now. I honestly don't remember if I was baiting it out or just was playing clumsy and for time. But assuming he's going to gobble up my bishop next, which is almost assured to happen, then I threaten with the rook. Of course, he could just take the pawn then. So it might have been a mistake, but I don't know. I think I was really trying to get this rook mobilized, but I can't remember for sure. But anyway. Okay, there it is, yeah. All right, so there's his gobble pawn. So I got to be a little bit careful here. There's a check to be had, and that could cost me a rook if I'm not careful. I got really weak pawns here. So that was pretty bad play by on my part. Okay, so yeah, I think I was getting a little bit tunnel visioned on getting that knight or that rook up to the 7th rank. It does cut the king off because this pawn is right here and he's not coming over here anytime soon, but still, this is really dangerous looking here. Okay, so he gobbled up a pawn. I probably would have done my check right there and taken my free rook and won the game. Check. Well, in that little play event, I would have won his knight back, but I still think it would have been enough. But anyway, I'm not going to go through all that with you. But, all right, so another pawn gone. Now I'm going to gobble my own pawn. Material is completely equal at this point. Check. Okay, move it up. I think the other method lost him. He would have won the exchange. I think the other would have been better. Checking me with his knight on h3 instead. he would take my rook with check. I go up here to g2 and then threaten both. Well, actually, he could have saved it. No, he couldn't save them both. But yeah, he would have lost a knight at that point because I was just taking on h3 as he saved his rook. But still, probably better than that one. So, okay, so I gotta be careful here too because I have the same problem. Basically, he's gonna probably check me here. The only decent one is over on h5, but once again, it picks up a rook. So, seems like the way to go. All right, so that's right. Yeah, he did have another way, but I probably just backed up with my king and repeated it a few times. Okay, this was a blunder because I'm going to unequalize again. I'm going to get rid of that pesky knight because he's a real pain. And basically, right here is he has to make a big decision, and it's either going to be he's going to take a rook of mine, and I'm going to get 2 of his pieces, which I'll do that any day of the week, or he's going to like recapture my rook with his pawn and then lose his rook. So it's a bad spot for him, and you'll see here in a second, I'm sure. But yep, so I take. All right, looks bad. He can just take with his pawn, but if he does that, he loses the rook. If he takes my rook, I take his bishop. Like I said, 2 pieces for the price of 1. Yep, pick the rook. Okay, so I am up material now. How about that? That's a turn of events. All right, so now it's a game of pawns. So good, get behind that. So move the king up. I like this one better. Probably just so I could defend that, but I'm only going to get harassed anymore. I could have moved this pawn up now to kind of help get my king a little bit safer. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so takes. Bad move on that one, I gotta say. Now this game is over. Because my king is advanced, I got a pawn back here that can't be stopped now as soon as I capture with my king. I got another pawn on the h-file that's going to be protected by my king, so I'd say this game is completely lost.
Agreed.
Okay, basically I'm just going to advance my e-pawn to queen. I'm sure there were some more efficient ways of doing this, like probably capturing with the queen here at this point, but I forget how I did this. Okay, so it wanted me to capture there to stop it, but I'm not that worried about it. Okay, now I'm probably going to drop the queen back behind that b-pawn. Yep. All right, he's going to lose that, so no troubles there. Now, basically, it's going to be just pushing this h-pawn to victory. Yep. Oh, why didn't I do 2 moves? I must have slipped on that one. But basically, I guarded all the entrance and egress places for the king, so there's no way he's stopping this queen. So you're about to see a 2-queen game, and that's pretty rare, and resign. So yeah, that was the game. It was interesting back and forth. Oops, I'm a plus 17 now. How about that? But I shouldn't have won this game. My play was pretty horrendous, especially at the beginning, and I did make another blunder that I saw. I didn't say blunder, though. It's kind of strange in the analysis, but yeah, I definitely should have lost that game, so I got kind of lucky. Sometimes time gets to people, you get to make it. You get to worrying too much about that clock. We still both had plenty of time. I still had 5 minutes on the clock. He had a full more minute, and he had 6. So sometimes you get worried that you're losing too much time instead of really sitting there thinking about a position. And, yeah, so it can get you sometimes. So, yeah, that's the game. So I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more of these analysis videos coming up in the near future. I'll come and just do 1 game on this one. You know, I'm going to record 2 tonight. But just break it up a little bit easier. So anyway, if you enjoyed these, let me know down in the comments below, and hope to see you across the chessboard. All right, until next time, this is Genome, out.